Episode 5, Orne Harbor. February 24th, 2024, 2 p.m. My afternoon begins with a much-needed nap as our captain steers Hondius out of the spectacular Orne Harbor and charts a course for our next stop, Orne Harbor. It is here that we will make our first continental landing in Antarctica. So, in a routine that will become very familiar over the next couple of weeks, I don my cold weather gear and life jacket and board a Zodiac headed for shore. It is a bluebird day, not a cloud in the sky. Snow and ocean alike glitter and gleam in the rays of the afternoon sun. On shore, my boots and I hit another milestone with our first steps on the continent of Antarctica itself. The grandeur of the moment is amplified by the dramatic, mountainous terrain towering over us like tiny ants on the beach. A switchback path crisscrosses its way to the top of the peak, cutting jagged lines into the otherwise pristine snow cover. The hike is difficult, and I wish for the first time that I had ice cleats. The bright sun has melted the top layer of snow and ice, just enough to make it slippery. I take one step forward and slide 2 steps back. I make use of my particular set of skills, which I owe to my youth on the ice-covered lakes of Minnesota, to propel myself up the mountain. For those passengers who don't have such heritage, it is quite a slog. As soon as I crest the little peak, a colony of chinstrap penguins comes into view. I hear a crunching noise behind me and spin around. I watch in awe as a chinstrap regards me and then continues on the path, only about 5 feet away. We try to keep distance from the wildlife as much as possible, but at the top of this narrow peak, there's nowhere for me to go. I follow the penguin to the heart of the colony and enjoy watching the little squabbles these guys get into on the regular. Down the opposite side of the slope, I can see the penguin's own version of a switchback path, which we affectionately refer to as penguin highways. These guys regularly make the steep climb up to the colony and then toboggan back down the hill on their bellies for some fishing. On the other side of the peak, there are fantastic 360-degree views of the peninsula we stand on. Hundreds of feet below, Hondius sits in the bay, looking very small in the shadow of the mountains. As I enjoy the breathtaking views, a distant rumbling reaches my ears. My eyes dart around, searching, until there! A glacier on the other side of the bay has calved, sending huge chunks of ice and snow down into the ocean below. It is a striking reminder of where we are. We are not at a zoo or a theme park. This is Antarctica, wild and untamed, a place where anything can happen at any moment. After such a fierce display of raw nature, I start making my way back down to the beach. There, I secure myself a seat at the front of the Zodiac for our cruise. The cruise delights in more ways than one. We see fur seals and more chinstrap penguins, these ones in much smaller groups than the colony we saw earlier. We watch as they toddle down to the edge of their rocks and jump off into the ocean for a quick swim, before hopping back up to do it over again. The seals languish in the water of the bay as if it's a giant jacuzzi tub. They seem so comfortable that I gather the courage to use my GoPro for the first time. To get the camera below the level of the Zodiac inner tube, I have to stick my hand into the water about a third of the way up my forearm. Seal blubber and human skin clearly do not compare, because my hand is numb in seconds. I managed to ignore the cold long enough to get a video of a swimming seal, which is pretty cool. Frozen hand safely tucked away in my mitten, we continue the cruise around the perimeter of the bay. Amazing wildlife aside, the scenery here is definitely the highlight of this outing. As the afternoon sun heats up, the glaciers around us begin to calve more and more frequently, creating tiny tsunamis as the ice falls into the ocean. It's a multi-sensory experience, as the loud cracks of a calving event captivate my ears. One such event even creates a mini snowstorm as the snow falls off on its way to the water. On this cruise, we also have our first experience with brash ice. It's basically when the liquid water of the sea becomes a soup with all of the little chunks of ice in it. Driving through the brash ice is a loud but successful test of our Zodiacs. They do indeed seem to be unsinkable. I can't help but pick chunks of ice out of the water and imagine which glacier they chipped off from. All good things must come to an end though, as it's time to return to Hondius for dinner and a good night's rest. In all today we spent over 7 hours off the ship, and fatigue is setting in. Tonight we will sail further south in search of our third big milestone in as many days, crossing the Antarctic Circle.